Imagine walking into every room, speaking your truth, and living your life without worrying about the opinions of others. Imagine the freedom of not being chained to their judgment, their whispers, their approval. But tell me the truth. How many times have you held back because you were afraid of what people might think? How many times have you silenced yourself, played small, or chosen comfort over authenticity just to fit in? The way you deal with other people's opinions defines the way you live your life. If you are ruled by fear of judgment, you will always hesitate, always limit yourself, always depend on their validation. But if you learn to rise above it, if you stop letting their thoughts control your actions, then you will discover real freedom. Today, you're going to learn the 10 Stoic rules that will help you stop caring what others think and finally live as your true self. These aren't just ideas, they are powerful principles that will cut through fear, give you clarity, and put you back in control of your own choices. So get ready, because after this video, you will never see the opinions of others the same way again. Before we start, I want you to make a commitment to yourself. Write in the comments, "Starting today, I choose freedom." You won't just be typing words. You'll be declaring independence from the weight of other people's thoughts. The more you repeat it, the more you'll feel it, and the easier it will be to live it. So write it down now, and let's begin. Number 1. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. How many times have you lost sleep over things you couldn't change? Maybe it was someone's opinion of you. Maybe it was the weather ruining your plans. Maybe it was something that happened years ago that you keep replaying in your mind. The truth is, no amount of worry, no amount of anger, no amount of regret can change what is already outside your control. And yet, this is where most people waste their energy. They fight battles they can never win. The Stoics gave us one of the simplest but most powerful rules for life. Control what you can, accept what you can't. It is simple in words, but hard in practice, because our minds cling to the illusion that if we worry long enough, complain loudly enough, or fight hard enough, reality will bend to us. But reality doesn't care. Life moves on whether you are calm or restless. Epictetus, who lived his early years as a slave, understood this better than anyone. He said, "Some things are in our control and some things are not. That's the line you must draw. On one side are your thoughts, your choices, your actions. Those belong to you. On the other side are the opinions of others, the outcome of events, the past, the future. Those do not belong to you." The tragedy is that most people ignore their side of the line and spend all their time and energy on the other side. They try to change people. They obsess about outcomes. They fight against time itself. Ask yourself right now, what is eating at you? Is it truly yours to control, or is it one of those things that belongs to the outside world? If it is not yours, then let it go. Why spend your strength fighting a storm? You cannot command the wind, but you can set your sails. You cannot stop the rain, but you can prepare your shelter. That is where your freedom lies, not in controlling the uncontrollable, but in mastering your response. Think of Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, who faced wars, betrayals, and plagues. With all his power, he still wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The most powerful man in the world understood that even an emperor cannot command the course of fate. But he could command himself, his choices, his discipline, his attitude. And that was enough. When you fight reality, you always lose. But when you accept what you cannot change and put your focus where it matters, on your own actions, you always win, no matter the outcome. Because the outcome is not the measure of success. Effort is. Discipline is. Integrity is. So how do you live this rule? Practice it in the small things first. When traffic is slow, remind yourself, this is not mine to control. My patience is. When someone insults you, remind yourself, their words are theirs, but my response is mine. When plans fall apart, remind yourself, the event is not mine, but my preparation, my attitude, my next step, that belongs to me. Little by little, you train your mind to stop chasing what it cannot hold and to grip tightly what it can. You begin to live with clarity because the world is no longer your master. You are. Imagine the freedom you will feel when you no longer depend on outcomes for peace. Imagine the strength you will carry when you no longer let people's opinions chain you. Imagine the calm you will gain when you no longer replay the past or fear the future, but stand firmly in the present, acting with purpose on what is yours to command. This is not weakness. This is not surrender. This is wisdom. This is strength. The weak man tries to control everything outside of him and breaks. The strong man masters himself and endures. So remember this. Life will always give you storms, critics, failures, and losses. You cannot control that, but you can control your mind. You can control your discipline. You can control how you rise each time you are knocked down. That is your power. That is your freedom. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. That is the Stoic way. That is how you live unshaken. Number 2, don't be a slave to desires. Look around you. How many people live their whole lives chasing the next thing, the next gadget, the next promotion, the next thrill, the next pleasure, always reaching, always wanting, never satisfied. They think freedom is getting everything they desire, but in truth, they are chained by those desires. They are slaves, not to masters with whips, but to their own endless cravings. The Stoics warned us, the man who cannot control his desires is never free. Why? Because his happiness is always dependent on something outside of him. He cannot be content with what he has. He always needs more. More money, more attention, more comfort, more pleasure. And the more he gets, the more he wants, because desire is a fire that only grows the more you feed it. Epictetus said, freedom is not achieved by satisfying desires, but by eliminating them. Think about that. True freedom is not needing what you don't have. True wealth is not in possessions, but in self-control. The poor man is not the one who has little. It is the one who always needs more. How many times have you told yourself, if I just get this one thing, I'll finally be happy? You got it, and maybe it gave you joy for a moment, but soon that joy faded, and another desire rose in its place. This is the trap of desire. It never ends, and if you are ruled by it, your life becomes an endless chase after shadows. But when you learn to master your desires, when you learn to say no to your cravings, you discover something powerful: peace. You no longer need constant stimulation, constant entertainment, constant rewards to feel alive. You become satisfied with the simple, the essential, the present. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Happiness is not hidden in the things you crave. It is already within you, waiting to be unlocked by discipline, by clarity, by gratitude. So how do you break free from slavery to desires? You start by practicing restraint. The next time you feel a craving, whether it's for food, for comfort, for attention, pause and ask yourself, do I control this desire, or does it control me? If it controls you, resist it. Even if just for a moment, even if just for one day, prove to yourself that you are stronger than your appetite. The Stoics practiced this through voluntary discomfort. They would fast, sleep on the floor, wear rough clothing, not because they hated comfort, but because they refused to be owned by it. Seneca said, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare. Then ask yourself, is this the condition I so feared?" They trained themselves to need little so they could never be enslaved by luxury. You can do the same. Skip a meal and learn that hunger is not the end of the world. Put your phone down and learn that boredom is not death. Delay a purchase and learn that the craving fades. Each time you resist, you grow stronger. Each time you deny desire, you reclaim your freedom. Ask yourself this: who is freer? The man who needs 10 luxuries to feel satisfied, or the man who can be content with one simple meal, one quiet moment, one good thought? The first is chained. The second is free. Desire promises happiness, but delivers slavery. Discipline looks like slavery, but delivers freedom. Which will you choose? If you live only for desire, you will always be restless, always dependent, always weak. But if you master desire, you will walk through life calm, steady, unshaken, untouched by the false promises of pleasure, unbroken by the absence of things. So remember this: every time you resist desire, you grow in strength. Every time you choose discipline over craving, you gain freedom. And every time you master your wants, you step closer to peace. Don't be a slave to desires, be their master. That is the Stoic way. That is freedom. Number 3, see hardship as training. Most people see hardship as punishment. They ask, why me? Why now? Why is life so unfair? They treat difficulty as something to be avoided, something to run from, something to fear. But the Stoic sees it differently. Hardship is not punishment. It is training. It is the gym for your soul, the fire that forges your character, the weight that makes you strong. Think of a soldier who never trains, never faces resistance, never carries the weight of armor or weapon. What happens when the real battle comes? He collapses. He is useless. In the same way, if you expect life to be easy, if you want every path to be smooth, then the first sign of trouble will crush you. But if you see every hardship as training, then no matter how heavy the challenge, you will be ready. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That means every obstacle is not there to stop you, but to shape you. The problem you face is not blocking your path. It is your path. The hardship is the tool life uses to carve strength into your soul. Think about it. Every person you admire, every strong leader, every wise thinker, every resilient human being, what do they all have in common? Hardship. They suffered, they failed, they endured pain, and instead of breaking them, it built them. Would Marcus Aurelius have been remembered if his life had been smooth and comfortable? No. He is remembered because he stood tall while the empire crumbled around him. Would Epictetus have become a teacher of strength if he had not first lived as a slave? No. His chains became his training ground. Hardship is the same for you. Every loss, every rejection, every failure, every moment of pain, it is not there to destroy you, but to train you. The question is not, why is this happening to me? The question is, what is this training me for? Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal is heated, hammered, and cooled again and again. Without the fire, without the hammer, without the strain, the sword would remain weak. You are the same. Life's fire and hammer are your hardships, and if you endure them with strength, you emerge sharper, stronger, unbreakable. So how do you practice this mindset? Start by reframing your pain. When something difficult happens, don't waste time asking for comfort. Ask for strength. Don't say, "I can't handle this." Say, "This is my training." When you lose something, let it train you in letting go. When someone betrays you, let it train you in resilience. When plans fall apart, let it train you in adaptability. When you face rejection, let it train you in perseverance. Every hardship has a lesson if you choose to see it. The Stoics even prepared themselves for hardship by imagining it before it came. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They would reflect on everything that could go wrong, not to be pessimistic, but to be ready. They saw that hardship is inevitable, so they trained their minds in advance. That way, when it came, they did not collapse in surprise. They stood firm, already prepared. Ask yourself, how many times in your life did a hardship later reveal itself as training? Think back to the moments you thought you would never survive, and yet here you are. Stronger, wiser, tougher. At the time, it felt unbearable. But now, you can see it prepared you for something greater. The same is true for the hardships you face now, even if you cannot yet see the reason. If you run from hardship, you will remain weak. If you fight against it, you will waste energy. But if you accept it as training, you will grow. You will find strength in the very thing that was meant to break you. So remember this: you are not fragile. You are not weak. You are not here to live a life of ease. You are here to be tested, to be challenged, to be trained. Hardship is the weight room of the soul. Every struggle is a repetition. Every failure is another set. Every pain is resistance that builds endurance. The world will not stop throwing obstacles at you. Life will not hand you a smooth path, but you have a choice. You can see hardship as punishment and suffer endlessly, or you can see it as training and grow endlessly. The Stoic chooses the second. The Stoic smiles at hardship, not because it is pleasant, but because it is useful, because it sharpens, it hardens, it strengthens. So when the next challenge comes, and it will, don't ask for the burden to be lighter. Ask for your back to be stronger. Don't pray for the storm to pass. Pray to be the sailor who can handle any storm. Don't run from hardship. Stand tall, face it, and say, "This is my training." That is the Stoic way. That is freedom. That is strength. Number 4. Let go of other people's opinions. How much of your life has been shaped not by your own choices, but by the opinions of others? How many times have you dressed, spoken, or acted a certain way just to avoid judgment? How many times have you silenced your voice because you were afraid of what people might think? If you are honest, you will see it clearly. You have been living as a prisoner, locked inside a cage built by the opinions of others. The Stoics tell us this: freedom begins the moment you stop caring about what others think. Why? Because other people's opinions are not in your control. You cannot force them to like you. You cannot make them understand you. You cannot stop them from judging. And if you try, you will spend your life chasing shadows, always restless, never at peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but we care more about their opinion than our own." Think about that. You live inside your own mind, you hear your own thoughts every moment, and yet you value the noise of strangers more than the truth of your own reason. You give them power over your peace. You hand them the keys to your freedom. But here is the truth. People will always talk. They will always judge. They will always form opinions, often without knowing the full story, often without understanding your heart, often without even thinking deeply. And if you let those opinions steer your life, you will be tossed around like a ship in a storm, pulled in every direction, never steady, never free. Epictetus was clear about this. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. That means if you are serious about living with virtue, with discipline, with strength, you must accept that not everyone will approve. Some will laugh at you, some will call you strange, some will misunderstand your choices. Let them. Their laughter cannot harm you. Their words cannot touch your character. Their opinions are theirs to carry, not yours. Ask yourself, who is freer? The man who bends his will to be liked, or the man who lives according to his values, even if the whole crowd disapproves? The first is chained, the second is free. So how do you let go of other people's opinions? You remind yourself daily of the line between what is yours and what is not. Their judgment, not yours. Your response, yours. Their approval, not yours. Your values, yours. You cannot control their mouths, but you can control your mind. You cannot control their thoughts, but you can control your actions. And in the end, only your actions define your character. The next time you feel judged, pause and ask, does their opinion change who I am? If you are living by your principles, the answer is no. Their words cannot rewrite your integrity. Their gossip cannot stain your discipline. Their approval cannot add to your worth, and their rejection cannot subtract from it. The Stoic does not waste time defending himself against every rumor, every insult, every whisper. He stays focused on what matters, living with courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. If the crowd cheers, he remains calm. If the crowd mocks, he remains calm, because he knows the crowd is fickle. Today's applause is tomorrow's laughter, but virtue, lived consistently, never fades. Think of Socrates, who was condemned by his own city for living and speaking the truth. Did he beg for their approval? Did he water down his values to be accepted? No, he chose to stand firm, even unto death. That is true freedom, not to be liked, but to be unshakable. You do not need everyone to understand you. You do not need everyone to approve of you. What you need is to live in such a way that you respect yourself, because at the end of each day, you are the one who must face your own reflection. And if you betrayed yourself for the sake of pleasing others, you will find no peace in that mirror. So remember this: other people's opinions are like the wind. They shift, they swirl, they change direction without warning. You cannot hold them, you cannot control them, you cannot build your life upon them. But your principles are like a rock. They are steady, they are firm, they are yours. Build your life on that rock, and you will be unshakable. Let them talk, let them laugh, let them misunderstand. Their voices are only noise. Your life is your own. Your path is your own. Your values are your own. Let go of other people's opinions. Live by your own reason. That is the Stoic way. That is freedom. Number 5. Remember, everything is temporary. Look around you. Everything you see, your possessions, your surroundings, the people in your life, even your own body, will one day be gone. Nothing you touch, nothing you hold, nothing you cling to will last forever. And yet, how often do we live as if everything is permanent? We act as if tomorrow is guaranteed, as if the people we love will always be there, as if our youth and strength will never fade. This illusion is what makes us careless, what makes us arrogant, what makes us waste the precious time we have. The Stoics remind us of a truth we would rather ignore. Everything is temporary. Pleasure fades. Pain fades. Success fades. Failure fades. Life itself is fleeting. This is not meant to depress you. It is meant to wake you up. Because once you truly see the shortness of life, you stop wasting it. You stop living on autopilot. You stop putting off the things that matter most. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." That is not morbid. It is liberating. If you accept that every day might be your last, you finally begin to live with urgency, with clarity, with gratitude. You stop clinging to nonsense and start focusing on what truly matters. Think about this. When you were a child, you thought those years would last forever. Then they passed. When you were young, you thought you had endless time ahead. Now you look back and wonder where the years went. The same will be true of today. One day you will look back on this moment and realize it was temporary. So why waste it? Hardship feels endless when you are inside it. But remember, it too is temporary. The pain you feel today will pass. The struggle you carry now will fade. Nothing, not even suffering, lasts forever. This truth gives you strength to endure. Pleasure feels eternal when you are in it, but remember, it too is temporary. The joy, the thrill, the excitement of today will fade tomorrow. This truth keeps you grounded, keeps you from clinging too tightly, keeps you from being owned by desire. People come into your life, and one day they will leave. You will laugh with them, love them, build memories with them. But eventually, either you will lose them or they will lose you. Does that mean you should despair? No. It means you should love them fiercely now. It means you should not waste time in anger, not waste words in silence, not waste moments in distraction, because every moment with them is temporary and therefore priceless. Your own life is no different. Every breath you take brings you closer to your last. Most people avoid thinking about this because it makes them uncomfortable. The Stoics thought about it daily because it made them wise. They called it memento mori. Remember that you must die. Not to be fearful, but to be grateful. Not to be hopeless, but to be present. Seneca said, "We are dying every day. Each sunrise is one less you will see. Each night is one step closer to your last. This is not something to dread. It is something to honor. It means your time is too precious to waste on trivial things. It means your anger, your envy, your fear, none of them are worth it, because the clock is always ticking." So how do you live with this truth? First, by letting go. Stop clinging to things as if they will last forever. They won't. Stop hoarding wealth. Stop obsessing over status. Stop chaining yourself to what is temporary. Use it, enjoy it, but do not become its slave. Second, by valuing the present. Do not waste today waiting for tomorrow. Do not delay your dreams, your words, your love, because tomorrow may not come. Live now, Act now, speak now. Third, by embracing impermanence as freedom. If everything is temporary, then nothing has the power to hold you forever. Not pain, not loss, not fear. Time will wash it all away. This truth can either terrify you or set you free. The Stoic chooses freedom. Think of life like writing in sand. Every wave will come and wash it away. Does that mean writing is pointless? No, it means you should write boldly, knowing the beauty is in the act, not the permanence. So remember this: the world changes, people change, you change. Nothing stands still. Do not resist this truth. Flow with it. Accept it. Let it sharpen your gratitude and your urgency. Everything is temporary. Your struggles, your pleasures, your possessions, your life. That is why you must not cling, must not waste, must not sleepwalk through your days. That is why you must live awake, live with purpose, live with love. Because when you accept that everything is temporary, you stop being careless with time. You stop fearing loss. You stop clinging to illusions. And you start living as the Stoics lived. Free, grateful, unshaken. Number 6. Own your mind. Your mind is your most powerful weapon, your most valuable possession, the one thing that can never be taken from you unless you give it away. Yet most people live as if their minds belong to everyone else. They let the news dictate their emotions. They let social media control their attention. They let the opinions of others tell them who they are and what they're worth. Day by day, thought by thought, they surrender their mind. And when you lose your mind, you lose everything. The Stoics understood this truth. Epictetus said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself can overpower my will." He lived much of his life in chains, but he was never a slave in spirit, because his mind was his own. His body could be beaten, but his reason, his discipline, his choices, those were untouchable. That is real freedom. Ask yourself, who owns your mind right now? Do you, or do your impulses own it? Do distractions own it? Do fears own it? If you cannot control your thoughts, your focus, your emotions, then you are not free. You are a prisoner of your own mind. Owning your mind begins with discipline. Discipline in what you allow in, and discipline in how you respond. If you constantly feed your mind with noise, gossip, anger, and fear, don't be surprised when your thoughts are restless and weak. Your mind becomes what you feed it. Just as the body grows sick on junk food, the mind grows sick on junk information. The Stoics guarded their minds carefully because they knew what you think determines how you live. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your thoughts are angry, you will live in anger. If your thoughts are fearful, you will live in fear. If your thoughts are disciplined, grateful, and clear, then your life will reflect that." Owning your mind means taking responsibility for every thought you allow to grow inside you. But owning your mind also means training it. The mind, like a muscle, grows stronger when you push it, when you test it, when you discipline it. Read with focus. Reflect daily. Write in a journal. Practice silence. Resist distractions. This is mental training. Just as the athlete trains his body for battle, you must train your mind for life. The world will always try to invade your mind. Advertisers want your desires. Politicians want your fears. Entertainers want your attention. Strangers want your approval. If you do not own your mind, someone else will. And once they own it, they control you. They decide what you want, what you fear, what you chase. That is why owning your mind is not just important, it is survival. So how do you take it back? Start with awareness. Watch your thoughts. When anger rises, ask yourself, is this mine, or did I let someone else put this in me? When fear grips you, ask, is this in my control, or am I letting the world own me? When desire burns, ask, do I choose this, or am I being controlled? Awareness is the first step to ownership. Next, practice control. Don't let your mind wander aimlessly from distraction to distraction. Decide where your attention goes. Decide what you will think about, what you will ignore, what you will dwell on. Your attention is the doorway to your mind. Guard it with strength. And finally, practice stillness. A mind that is always restless can never be owned. Take time each day to sit in silence, to breathe, to reflect, to listen to your own reason instead of the noise of the world. In stillness, you remember that your mind is yours. The Stoics did this daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, not for others, but to strengthen his own mind. Epictetus taught his students to question every thought, every assumption, so that nothing could slip past untested. Seneca reminded himself constantly that the only true freedom is mastery over the self. They owned their minds, and because of that, no emperor, no crowd, no fate could control them. You must do the same. Do not let your mind be a battlefield for outside forces. Do not hand it over to fear, to desire, to distraction. Take it back. Strengthen it. Discipline it. Own it. Because if you own your mind, you own your life. If you master your thoughts, you master your actions. If you control your reason, nothing can control you. So remember this. Your body may grow weak, your possessions may be taken, your reputation may be attacked, but your mind, your reason, your will, your discipline belongs to you alone. Guard it, strengthen it, own it. That is the Stoic way. That is real freedom. Number 7. Practice self-discipline daily. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. Freedom is being able to command yourself, to act according to your values instead of your impulses, to follow reason instead of desire. And the only path to that kind of freedom is self-discipline. Without it, you are a slave to laziness, to cravings, to fear, to every passing mood. With it, you are a master, not of the world, but of yourself. The Stoics placed discipline at the center of their lives. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the largest empire on earth, woke each day reminding himself to rise, to do his duty, to live with virtue, even when he felt tired or discouraged. Epictetus, born a slave, taught that the key to freedom was not breaking chains on the outside, but breaking chains on the inside. Seneca wrote that it is not the man who indulges every desire who is strong, but the one who can resist them. Discipline is not built in a single act of strength. It is built in small choices, repeated every day. Every time you resist temptation, you grow stronger. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust in your own word. Every time you choose effort over comfort, you train your will. That is why the Stoics insisted, practice self-discipline daily. Not sometimes, not when it's easy, not only when you feel motivated, daily. Ask yourself, who do you want to be? The person controlled by urges, or the person who controls them? The person who says, I'll start tomorrow, or the person who acts today? The person who bends to every excuse, or the person who stands firm no matter what? The answer is revealed not in your words, but in your habits. Discipline does not require greatness, it requires consistency. Waking up when you said you would, doing the work you promised to do, saying no to pleasures that weaken you, saying yes to effort that strengthens you. Each act may seem small, but over time they build unshakable character. Think of an athlete. He does not train only when he feels like it. He trains every day because he knows the body grows through repetition. Your character is the same. Your discipline is your daily training. Miss it and you weaken. Practice it and you grow. The Stoics even practiced voluntary hardship to sharpen discipline. They would fast, expose themselves to discomfort, strip life down to the essentials, so that when real difficulty came, they would not collapse. Seneca advised, "Set aside certain days, to be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" They trained themselves to need little, to endure much, to be masters of themselves in any condition. So what does daily discipline look like for you? It may be rising with the alarm instead of hitting snooze. It may be doing the work before distraction calls. It may be exercising when your body says no. It may be holding your tongue when anger pushes you to lash out. It may be saving money instead of spending it. It may be reading wisdom instead of scrolling endlessly. Do not despise these small acts. These are your training. These are the weights you lift in the gym of life. Each repetition strengthens your will. Each act builds the fortress of your character. And when the storms come, as they always do, you will be ready. Without discipline, you are at the mercy of the world. Every craving pulls you, every emotion rules you, every obstacle crushes you. With discipline, you are steady. You may feel desire, but it does not command you. You may feel fear, but it does not stop you. You may face hardship, but it does not break you. Discipline is not punishment, it is power. It is not restriction, it is freedom. The man who indulges every appetite is not free, he is chained to his cravings. The man who trains his appetites, who controls his urges, who acts by reason, he is free. So begin today. Do not wait for tomorrow. Choose one act of discipline and do it. Then another, then another. Each day, test yourself. Each day, train yourself. Each day, prove to yourself that you command your mind, your body, your will. Because in the end, strength does not come from comfort. Peace does not come from indulgence. Freedom does not come from surrendering to urges. Strength, peace, and freedom come from discipline, daily, steady, relentless. So remember this, self-discipline is not a burden, it is your liberation. It is not a chain, it is the key. Practice it every day, build it brick by brick, and one day you will stand unshaken, not because life was easy, but because you trained to be stronger than whatever it brought. Practice self-discipline daily. That is the Stoic way. That is freedom. Number 8. Don't confuse freedom with indulgence. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want, without limits. Eat what you like, spend what you like, say what you like, chase every pleasure, follow every desire. They call this freedom. But the truth is, this is not freedom at all. It is slavery. Because when you live like that, you are not in control. Your cravings are in control. Your impulses are in control. Your moods are in control. You are not free, you are owned. The Stoics saw this clearly. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That means the man who indulges every appetite is a slave, while the man who can resist, who can say no, who can choose reason over desire, that man is truly free. Think about it. The person who drinks until he cannot stop, is that freedom? No, it is a chain. The person who eats until he feels sick, is that freedom? No, it is weakness. The person who spends money he doesn't have to impress people he doesn't like, is that freedom? No, it is dependence. Indulgence does not set you free. It traps you deeper. Real freedom is self-mastery. Real freedom is being able to choose your actions, not be dragged by your impulses. Real freedom is being able to enjoy pleasures without being enslaved by them, to own possessions without being possessed by them, to live in the world without becoming addicted to it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Notice what he did not say. He did not say, freedom is getting everything you want. He said freedom is controlling yourself when the world tries to pull you in every direction. That is why he, an emperor with access to every indulgence, lived simply and soberly, because he knew indulgence weakens, mastery strengthens. The problem is, indulgence feels like freedom in the moment. It feels like liberation to say, I'll do what I want. But what happens after? Guilt, weakness, dependence. You feel worse, not better. You feel empty, not full. What looked like freedom was actually a chain. Freedom and indulgence are opposites. Indulgence is slavery dressed up as liberty. Freedom is discipline disguised as restraint. Indulgence is easy but leaves you weaker. Freedom is hard but makes you stronger. The crowd will always choose indulgence because it feels good in the moment. The Stoic chooses freedom because it builds strength for a lifetime. So how do you live this? First, learn to pause. When a craving rises, don't obey it instantly. Ask yourself, if I give in, am I free, or am I submitting? Second, test yourself. Practice going without pleasures you think you need. Skip the luxury. Delay the reward. Show yourself that you are stronger than your appetites. Third, remember the cost of indulgence. Every time you choose it, you trade strength for weakness, clarity for fog, freedom for slavery. Seneca warned against drowning in pleasure. He said, "To be enslaved to oneself is the heaviest of all servitudes." The man who cannot say no to himself is in the worst prison of all. But the man who controls himself walks free, no matter where he is. Ask yourself honestly, are you free or are you indulging? Do you own your habits or do they own you? Do you command your desires or do they command you? The answers reveal whether you are living in freedom or in chains. So remember this. Freedom is not indulgence. Freedom is strength. Freedom is clarity. Freedom is mastery. Indulgence gives you a moment of pleasure, but steals your long-term peace. Freedom may require sacrifice in the moment, but it gives you lasting power. Don't confuse the two. Don't fall for the lie that pleasure equals liberty. Pleasure without control is poison. True liberty is choosing what is right, not just what feels good. The Stoic is not against pleasure. He enjoys it when it comes, but he does not cling to it. He uses it without being used by it. He owns it without being owned by it. That is the difference. That is the path. So when temptation whispers, "This is freedom," look deeper. Ask yourself, does this make me stronger or weaker? Does this give me control or take it away? If it enslaves you, it is not freedom. If it strengthens you, it is. Don't confuse freedom with indulgence. One is slavery. The other is mastery. Choose mastery. Choose freedom. Choose the Stoic way. Number 9. Accept death calmly. Death. It is the one truth no one can escape, the one fate every person shares. And yet, it is the truth most people fear the most. They run from it, avoid thinking about it, pretend it belongs only to others, as if denial could change reality. But the Stoics faced death head-on. They did not see it as an enemy, but as a teacher, a reminder, a part of life itself. To accept death calmly is not to give up, it is to be free. Think about it. Every fear you carry is rooted in death. Fear of sickness, fear of losing wealth, fear of rejection, fear of the future. All of these are branches of the same root, fear of death. But what happens if you remove that root? What if death no longer terrifies you? Suddenly the branches wither. You become fearless, not because life is easy, but because you no longer tremble before the inevitable. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about death, not with dread, but with peace. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Death itself is natural. It is part of the same process that brings dawn after night, spring after winter, birth after silence. Why fear what is natural? Why resist what is woven into the order of the universe? Seneca reminded himself daily, "We die every day." Time is always slipping from us, one breath at a time. Death is not something waiting far in the future. It is happening now, with each moment that passes. And if that is true, then fearing it is foolish. It is already here. The wiser path is to live fully in the time you have, to meet each day as if it were a gift, and when the final day comes, to meet it as a friend, not an enemy. Imagine a soldier trained for battle. When the fight begins, he is not shocked because he has prepared. But the untrained man panics, collapses, flees. Death is the same. Most people live unprepared, and when the end comes, they are crushed by fear. The Stoic trains daily, through reflection, through acceptance, through memento mori, the practice of remembering death, not to obsess over it, but to be ready. So how do you accept death calmly? You start by reminding yourself it is not in your control. You did not choose your birth. You will not choose your final breath. It belongs to fate, not to you. And since it is not yours to control, why waste your strength resisting it? Better to use your strength for what you can control, how you live until that moment comes. Next, you reflect on death often, not to be morbid, but to be awake. When you remember that every meeting with a loved one may be the last, you waste no time in anger or silence. When you remember that every day may be your last, you stop delaying your purpose. When you remember that every breath is fragile, you become grateful for each one you take. And finally, you see death for what it truly is, not an end, but a return. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Death is a release from the impressions of the senses, and from desires that make us their puppets, and from the vagaries of the mind, and from the hard service of the flesh." Death is a dissolving, a returning to nature, a closing of the circle. Just as the leaf falls in autumn, just as the wave returns to the sea, so will you. Why fear what has happened to every living thing before you? When you accept death calmly, you are untouchable. Threats lose their power. Losses lose their sting. Fear loses its grip. You begin to live not as a coward hiding from the inevitable, but as a warrior prepared for it. And paradoxically, it is in accepting death that you finally learn how to live. So remember this: death is certain, but fear is a choice. Death is natural, but panic is not. You cannot control the hour or the manner, but you can control your response. And the Stoic response is calm acceptance. Live well, so that when death comes, you meet it with peace, not regret. Live fully, so that when your last breath leaves you, you can say, I lived as I should. I was not perfect, but I was true. I am ready. Accept death calmly. It is not the enemy. It is the teacher. It is the reminder. It is the final test. And if you live as a Stoic, you will pass it with strength. Number 10. Live by virtue, not circumstance. Most people live like leaves blown about by the wind. When life is good, they are happy. When life is hard, they are bitter. When praised, they feel confident. When criticized, they collapse. Their character changes with their circumstances because they have no anchor. They live by chance, not by choice. The Stoic knows this is no way to live. The Stoic chooses a different path, to live by virtue, no matter the circumstance. What does this mean? It means your principles do not change with the weather. It means you do not abandon honesty when lying would make life easier. You do not abandon courage when fear rises. You do not abandon discipline when comfort tempts you. You do not abandon justice when selfishness calls. Virtue is steady, circumstance is not. Marcus Aurelius, facing wars, betrayals, and plagues, reminded himself, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Notice, he did not add, unless it's convenient. Virtue is not conditional. It is not something you practice only when life is easy. It is something you practice especially when life is hard. That is when it matters most. Think about it. Anyone can be patient when nothing tests them. Anyone can be kind when everyone around them is kind. Anyone can be disciplined when life is simple. That is not real virtue. That is circumstance. Real virtue is patience when provoked, kindness when insulted, discipline when tempted. Virtue shines brightest in the dark. Epictetus was born a slave. He had no wealth, no status, no freedom in the eyes of men. But he lived with dignity, with wisdom, with courage. He refused to let circumstance dictate his character. He proved that even in chains a man can live free, if he lives by virtue. Seneca, surrounded by wealth and power, warned against letting fortune corrupt the soul. He wrote, "A good character, once established, is not easily overthrown." That is the goal, to build a character so strong that no rise of fortune makes you arrogant and no fall of fortune makes you bitter. Circumstance changes daily. Virtue endures. Ask yourself, what guides your actions, your values, or your situation? Do you stay honest only when it benefits you, or always? Do you stay calm only when life is smooth, or also when storms rise? Do you live justly only when it is easy, or also when it costs you something? Your answers reveal whether you are living by virtue or by circumstance. To live by circumstance is to be a puppet. The strings of fortune pull you one way today and another tomorrow. You smile when they pull you up, you despair when they pull you down. But to live by virtue is to cut those strings. You act, not because fortune favors you, but because reason guides you. You do what is right, not because it is rewarded, but because it is right. So how do you practice this? Start with clarity. Define your virtues. Decide what you stand for. Honesty, courage, discipline, justice. Write them down. Reflect on them. Then commit. These will guide me no matter the circumstance. Next, test yourself in small things. When you feel the urge to cut corners, resist. When you feel the temptation to complain, stay silent. When you feel the pull of fear, act with courage anyway. Each time you choose virtue over circumstance, you strengthen your character. And finally, hold yourself accountable. At the end of each day, reflect. Did I live by my values or by my situation? Did I let fortune control me or did I control myself? Marcus Aurelius did this every night in his journal. You can do the same. Reflection sharpens the soul, because here is the truth. Circumstance will never be fully in your control. Fortune rises and falls. Health changes. Wealth disappears. People praise and condemn. If you tie your life to these things, you will always be unstable, always restless, always weak. But if you tie your life to virtue, you will always be steady, always calm, always strong. So remember this: live by virtue, not circumstance. Live by what is eternal, not what is temporary. Live by what you choose, not what the world chooses for you. Do this, and no matter what happens, whether fortune blesses you or strikes you, whether the world praises you or condemns you, you will remain unshaken. You will remain free. You will remain whole. That is the Stoic way. That is strength. That is how to live. You've now seen the 10 Stoic rules for freedom. Control what you can and accept what you can't. Don't be a slave to desires. See hardship as training. Let go of other people's opinions. Remember, everything is temporary. Own your mind. Practice self-discipline daily. Don't confuse freedom with indulgence. Accept death calmly. And above all, live by virtue, not by circumstance. These are not just lessons to think about once and forget. They are principles to live by. Every day, in every choice, in every challenge. The world will always try to pull you in different directions, but if you hold to these rules, you will walk free, unshaken, unbroken. Now it's your turn. I want you to declare it in the comments. I choose freedom. Write it, and you're not just typing words, you're programming your mind. You're committing to a new way of living. You're making a promise to yourself. And if you want more teachings like this, more Stoic wisdom, more practical tools to help you master yourself and your life, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning.